Hey everybody, this is episode 53. Thank you so much for listening in. So, from my last podcast, I was discussing how important it is to try to put yourself in a better mindset. And I was thinking about this saying, what goes around comes around, or you reap what you sow. How many of you believe that that is true? You reap what you sow. What goes around comes around. Now, when we hear those sayings, we think to ourselves, well, like kind of like a negative karma thing going on, like you hurt me and somewhere along the line someone is going to hurt you. And do I believe that that happens? Yes, I do. I believe that that happens all the time, but that's the type scenario that first comes to mind. But how far does that go? What goes around comes around. You reap what you sow. So let's say you're in this dark mindset. And if you're in this dark mindset and you're always expecting disappointment, and this is the energy that we're emanating out into the universe, would it also be true that we reap what we sow? We put that out and this is what we got back. Okay? And what goes around comes around. Okay? I don't trust, and I keep drawing that kind of energy back to myself. And that could be anything, but I would just like you to think about how many levels does that saying fit into? Okay, is it just limited to what comes up in our head first? Like, you hurt me, someone along the line is going to hurt you back. Or whatever you did to me, someone eventually is going to do to you. What if that applied to everything? What if it also applies to what I just said? If I emanate this positive or negative into the world, am I going to get that back? I went through a thing where I was looking into a lot of, very early in my life, a lot of different religions and a lot of different spiritual teachings. And before I did that, I said to myself, I'm just going to believe it. I'm going to start believing. I'm going to start believing in people. I'm going to start believing, that people are believing what they're telling me too. And I'm just going to open up and allow myself to be vulnerable. And that was the most amazing turnaround for me. It really was. It was kind of like that movie. I don't know how many of you have seen it, The Yes Man, where whatever anyone asked him, he had to say yes no matter what it was. So I just opened up to the craziest stuff. I allowed myself to try new things, things that I wouldn't normally do. I allowed myself to have new experiences, and I made some great connections to people as a result of that. I gained a lot of knowledge as a result of that experience. I gained a lot of spiritual wisdom through that experience. And through that experience, I started to, feel more optimistic, more positive. My whole, you know, everything changed for the better as a result of that. Now, when I told a lot of people what I was doing, they kind of gave me a weird look. But I definitely have no regrets about that time. It was actually one of the greatest times of my life. And I think I may have mentioned before that it was in 2017, I think it was. That year, I decided to, whatever I could give away or do for people at no charge, I would definitely do. And that was my inspiration for starting this podcast. And no, it doesn't compare to having a psychic reading done, but if my focus was to give as much of myself as I possibly could. And this is the only way for me to connect to you guys, so I'm connecting, and I want to, and I see that a lot of you are downloading these episodes, and I think that's great. So change your mind, change your life. It's funny to me how the simplest of adjustments, the simplest little pattern you can change up in your life could make such a world of difference over time. Okay? And the thing is that, or the big deal is, or the key is to believe in what what you're learning and what you're experiencing. You need to believe, and you need to believe it's going to work. And you don't just say it to yourself, you got to feel it, and then you got to start applying it. And that's how this kind of thing works as far as changing your life for the better. People, because of the energy that you emanate, whether it be positive, whether it be negative, and like I said, it all starts with the mindset. You bring an energy into the room. You know how people say, this person walked in the room, and they light up the room, And that's because they're in good spirits. And because they're in good spirits, they lit up the room, right? So you can feel that energy. And then here comes someone that's in a very bad, going through a bad time, in a very bad state of mind or negative, and they walk into the room and suddenly everything gets so dull. It's almost like the energy had been sucked out of the room. Anything that was good kind of got sucked out of the room. And you know what? That's what's happening. The energy, the good energy, got consumed by the negative energy. No one is hopeless. As I've said before, every day is a time to start again, a new opportunity to start again. Also, I want to say to everybody that's listening in, I wish you all a very happy holiday time, and I hope that this podcast is helping you and kind of opening you up a little bit, an opportunity for you to do some self-examination. If you'd like to have a reading done, please reach out to 800-685-7912, and you can have a reading done by me with extension 11. My flat rate reading is $40. I also have Psychic Snow with the same number but a different extension. Psychic Snow is only 99 cents a minute, and she is extension 10. Psychic Cassidy is extension 12. She's $1.99 a minute, and the first 3 minutes of all of these extensions are free. So feel free to please take advantage of that. I also want to inform you guys that I am working on a fundraiser very soon, and for a donation, I am preparing lots of intention candles and aromatherapy candles and some amazing spiritual products that I'd like to send off to you anywhere in the United States. So I'm going to keep you guys updated on when that is about to happen. If there's anyone that you know that you think this podcast would be helpful to, you can find me on iTunes, Psychic Christine Podcast. I'm on iTunes, and you can go ahead and forward this podcast to others. So thank you so much. I wish you all the best of luck.